friends, this is the program Empire of Lies, where we discuss manipulation and disinformation in Russian media, how state propaganda explains the protracted conflict to the world and to itself. An analysis of Vladimir Solovyov's program shows that television is crafting a coherent narrative that goes beyond explaining the war in Ukraine. It describes a new geopolitical project that aspires to a multi-year confrontation, ideological autonomy, and the hybrid mobilization of the entire economic system won. The leitmotif of betrayal and a refusal to compromise Russian television discourse constantly returns to the thesis that Russia has been kind-hearted since 2014 and that the West has systematically deceived it. This motif serves several functions: normalizes the protracted conflict as if it were forced, justifies the refusal to negotiate on an equal footing, allows the current war to be presented as a response to foreign aggression rather than as an outcome of Russian policy. Therefore, the key formula is peace is possible but only on our terms. In European political logic, this is tantamount to a rejection of diplomacy. In Russian television discourse, it is a demonstration of principledness, even virtue. Propaganda deliberately delegitimizes the space for compromise. Any agreement is interpreted as weakness and a return to the naivety for which Russia has allegedly been repeatedly punished. 2. The mega-world and Russia's new civilizational role. The second important line is the assertion that Russia is building an alternative geopolitical project to the West. Solovyov describes it as a multipolar world, where Russia is the center of its own mega-world, a zone of influence united not by alliances, but by ideology and the provision of security to other countries. At a recent conference in Pakistan, as emphasized on air, more than 40 countries were present, and not a single one was from the West. Russia presents this as proof. The West is losing its role as a global arbiter, while Asian and African states are seeking new centers of power. This narrative is important not only for external positioning. Domestically, it creates a sense of historical mission. Russia is acting not for its own sake, but for the sake of a new world that should replace the Euro-Atlantic one. Since 2014, we've repeatedly found ourselves in situations where we've shown kindness and mercy, only to be blatantly deceived. Blatantly. And yet, for some reason, we still believed the West couldn't. There's no such baseness the West isn't prepared to commit to destroying Russia. Despite a certain respect for the Hungarian leader, I'd like to disagree with him. He does say, though, that everything depends on the West's position. When the West finally understands that peace must be made, it will happen. No, peace on our terms. If it accepts, fine. If it doesn't, I think I agree with you. A special operation will continue to fully achieve its goals and objectives. Moreover, today, an even clearer picture has emerged. It's no longer just Europe. The entire West must recognize this. 3. Russia as a security provider. From the military to ideology, television rhetoric emphasizes that Russia is capable of providing partner countries with a whole range of security, military, from nuclear deterrence to new weapons, food, grain, fertilizer, and a cheap food market, economic and financial, alternatives to Western sanctions, value-based, mental, security, traditional values, an anti-liberal identity. This set of ideas is presented as an export item. Russia is not an isolated power, but an alternative to the West, capable of forming a new center of power. For the European reader, it is important to understand such discourse serves as a tool for legitimizing not only foreign policy, but also domestic policy. It transforms war into a structural part of the future. War becomes a mechanism through which Russia binds other states to itself. 4. Gluing the external and the internal, a step toward a mobilization economy. The second half of Solovyov's discussion discussion unexpectedly shifts to criticism of the Central Bank of Russia. This seems abstract, but in fact, it is an important signal. If propaganda explains the need for a victory plan, then the question inevitably arises: what should the country's economy become? Criticism comes from several directions. The floating exchange rate of the ruble is declared harmful. The independence of the central bank is presented as a threat. Forecasting is contrasted with full-fledged state planning. Growth is regulated too cautiously, which is holding the country back in times of war. Final conclusion: Russia needs a new economic regime, not a market one, but a coordinated one, subordinated to the main goal, victory. Thus, television is gradually shaping public demand for a soft militarization of the economy. When political power gains the right to rewrite financial rules in times of war, think, analyze, draw conclusions, and don't be fooled. This was the program Empire of Lies.